Eamon Khan here for seconds out with us, shooting off just about. Dave Cole, thank you so much for a few minutes of your time. First of all, got a victory on the ledger today for Ellis Price. How did he do?
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Over the moon with his performance. Against an opponent that's better than the record, which is the reason why I picked him. Just beating a kid that was 5-0, got ripped off against an unbeaten Manchester kid. So I knew he was going to throw hands, taller, longer, awkward. But Ellis boxed brilliant. You know, it's his third fight, and he showed so much maturity. Boxed like a man that's had 10 fights. Picked his shots really well, worked the body really well, and got a really good 5th round stoppage. Over the moon with him.
There was some fight as well in that main event. Brilliant crowd. The crowd reacted almost like willed Callum Simpson to the finish, but it ebbed and flowed and was action all the way through.
It was a fantastic learning fight for him because it was entertaining for us. A lot of mistakes, exciting. Showed a lot of character, getting dropped twice, and you know, not going to a shell, not panicking, just remaining the same how he is. Some good, some bad. But a really good learning fight. I love the European title. I think the European title is a forgotten about title in the mainstream. But it's a title where you see fighters learn so much before they go on to that world level. Everyone's in a rush to go to world level. There's a big gap between domestic and world level in the main. And the European title is a really good title to get those fights, those learning fights, make those mistakes, and perhaps not get, you know, punished too severely for him, because, you know, the 2 knockdowns that he had there at this level, if it had been at world level, would he have got out of the fight? Would he have, you know, been able to turn it around? Who knows? Now he understands a little bit more, not just about the sport, about what it entails, but about himself. Because, you know, fighters think they're invincible, or, you know, they don't know how they're going to react. There's always those questions. And then when you have to answer them, you know what you're about. So it's a great fight for him.
How big is the gap from European to world for Callum?
I love how he speaks. Listen, he's not talking about himself being world level yet. He's not talking about himself fighting for world titles yet. And that's good. He's got his feet firm on the ground. He understands that he's now European champion and he's going to box at European level, get some more learning fights. He's talking about another year, another 4 or 5 fights. He's saying, then we go. And like I said, as you're learning, you're developing, you're getting better. So right now, he's not ready to mix with those guys. But in a year's time, 4 or 5 fights down the line, I can see it could be.
Now, I said I won't keep you too long, so I want to get to the headline news. The current state of play is, according to Daily Mail articles, and of course whispers that we hear, and whispers we hear, of course, throughout the boxing scene, that the boxer deal, and as Ben Shalom has said, is at the end of its cycle and will not be renewed. And the potential is that a number of promoters might be in play, but there'll be no exclusivity. What do you think? Well, first of all, what is your reaction to the current state of play with Boxer and Sky Sports?
All I know is that you know, this was the last fight of that, the terms of that contract. So obviously, you know, people above my pay grade know what's going on. I'm just speculating like everybody else, and really I'm not really speculating because it has nothing to do with me in terms of what I can control. So I'll just wait like everybody else and see what Sky do. The only thing that I'm concerned about, the only thing that I want, is that Sky Sports stay in boxing. Exactly, yeah. That's all I care about. Because ultimately, you know, I've been in boxing 35 years. I think Sky have been in boxing about 30 years. So it's the majority of my time, and I see what Sky have done for the sport, and you know, the reach that it gives the sport. Along with DAZN, what they're doing, fantastic. Along with Channel 5, I had a fighter on the Channel 5 show last night. It's fantastic. We need channels to be showing boxing. I love boxing. I want to see boxing. I want to see it grow as a sport. And without channels like them, it's not going to grow. But without Sky Sports, that's where the worry is, because Sky's the mainstream right now.
As with boxing and big headline news, everyone kind of has to say, I've just asked you for your take. I just listened to IFL, Eddie Hearn had said that he felt in the wake of him leaving Sky Sports and the work that he did, he had big shoes to fill, and Ben Shalom did, and it was an impossible task for him to follow alongside some incorrect decisions made along the way. And maybe, as Eddie alluded to, maybe the way he treated some fighters, a bit vague on that. But was it an impossible task for Ben to follow in what Eddie did with Sky?
No, nothing's ever impossible. But what I would say is that what Eddie and Sky did together was unbelievable. You know, they put boxing right up there, and it's not always easy. So it's like Eddie Hearn. He's followed on from his dad. People like to say, "Oh, it's only because of his dad." Only because of that. But Eddie took it onto another level. He took what Matchroom was, turned it into what it is now. So he progressed. Not everybody can do things. We know so many businesses, you know, so many people in you know, in certain walks of life where they get the keys to the kingdom and they fuck it up. Not everybody can be the one that takes it on. And I'm not saying that Ben's fucked it up. I'm saying that's how life is. So, you know, Eddie's saying it's an impossible, it's a very difficult task, but it's not an impossible task because people do it. But it is really difficult, and he did have some big shoes. The problem is that he's very inexperienced, and he's learning on the job. You can't give him credit because he's learning on the job. But when you're learning on the job, you're not going to be the finished article. You're not going to make all the right decisions. This way, you do need to have people around you that, you know, do understand what's going off and do understand how to do things. And maybe give them more power or give them more of a role to be able to actually make the right decisions. Boxing, promoting, and the business of boxing, and it's a difficult job to do. Some people can take to it like that, and some people it takes a while. It's all like being a coach. It's like when, you know, I started off 30 years, was probably about 30 years ago. And coming up to. And so I had successes early doors at the level that I was at, and then you have some not some, but you develop, you have more experience as you go through situations, you become better. I'm sure Ben's a better promoter today than what it was when he got the keys to the kingdom. But you can only be judged on the decisions that you're making on that process, and when it comes to the end of a contract, if it's not worked out and the person that makes that decision isn't happy, same as a football manager, so, you know, we see how things go. If they're not happy, then it's like you go your separate ways, and that's it. That's the end of it. Then it's the end of the road.
Last question. Let me get your first take on the Ringer reporting now that Moses at Talma is in talks to finalise, or this obviously his management team are in talks to finalise a fight with Dillian White. What do you think of that one?
Oh, so that's the big fight they were talking about with Dillian there. Mate. That's a good fight. It's a good fight. Listen, Dillian's at the stage now of his career where obviously inactivity, you know, wear and tear, you know, and just age. He's at that end of his career where he needs something, you know, he needs a good win, a big win to kind of get himself back in the mix. Talma's team will be looking at Dillian White as the stage of his career, inactivity, age, and thinking, perfect time. We'll see. Moses is outstanding. He's an outstanding prospect. The speed could be a real problem for Dillian, but Dillian's a very experienced, wily operator, tough, nails, can punch himself, and it's a big step up from what Moses has been boxing at previously. So it's a great matchmaking. It's great. It really is. It's too early for me to say what happens, but you know, it's easy to be quite disrespectful to somebody like Dillian and say, oh yeah, you know, new kid on block now, and he's gonna go out there and he'll be too fast, too sharp, and goes and gets rid of him because of Dillian's experience, toughness, and what he's done in his career. Is it ideal? The situation that Dillian is right now, the activity and everything, to go in against a sharpshooter like Moses? No, it's not ideal. But Dillian White fights anybody, you know. You put it in front of him, and he'll fight him. And he's proven his toughness. He's proven his bollocks. So you know, they've obviously come to him, and you know, if the numbers are right, then he'll take the fight. Go on.
I thought you had something.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, Dillian White calls himself the Can Man. Thank you for saying you can and will do this interview. Dave, I'll let you go. He's 3 seconds out.